Hello, and welcome back to Diecast Graveyard. My name is Paul. Today we've got a fun build. We've got a Hot Wheels 6-shooter. Now, according to the Hot Wheels Ultimate Redline Guide, this car was released in 1971.
No! You must not read from the book!
This is a pretty wild fantasy car. The engines are incredibly pronounced, but man, they look really hot. I can't even imagine what this car would do if it was real. Now, this car here was the very first car that was released by Hot Wheels that had 6 wheels. So that's something else for all you trivia buffs with Hot Wheels. Well, let's go ahead and get the car apart, do our autopsy, and figure out where we're going with this and what we need to do. I've already got the post drilled out. Now there's a post holding in the engine and there's a small post in the front. Now the windshield was just sitting in there, so we're gonna have to hopefully fix that. There's a lot of pitting on this car, so we're going to have to figure out what to do. I really don't want to get out the zinc plating kit. Again, 6 wheels here. The one the pair of wheels in the middle was held on with a piece of masking tape of all things. And that whole center section, that plastic support section, is dry rotted. The engines are in good shape. They just need to be polished up. But those look really good. Here's the interior. That's kind of dry rotted too, but we'll do the best we can with that. That little flap there that you see is suspension for the middle wheels. And here's the windshield. I can't find a replacement windshield for it, so we're going to do the best we can with this, and hopefully we'll get it cleaned up and put back in the car and it won't look too bad. Let's go ahead and grab your favorite adult beverage and sit back and relax as we restore this 6-shooter. Here we've got the body, and we're going to go ahead and put that in the embalming fluid and get the old paint off that bad boy. Knock as much excess as you can off of it, or let it drip off, however you want to do it, and then put it on your tray, or if you're going to let it soak, that'd be great too. Let's go ahead and continue on with the next step. Now it's time to clean the base. Here we're going to use a mixture of lime-away and water, a 50-50 mixture. Make sure you have your safety protection on, your safety glasses, and at least one glove, unless you're planning on getting both of your hands wet. And then let it set in the mixture for approximately 3 minutes. Now keep an eye on it. If it happens to clean up a little bit faster, then go ahead and pull it out and start scrubbing it down. Now's the time to have a real nice gulp of your favorite beverage and watch what's going on. Okay, that's plenty of time. Let's go ahead and get the brass brush and scrub it down and get as much tarnish off as we possibly can. This one was pretty toned up for sure, and we're definitely going to have to polish it. Now, the base is not in bad shape. It's not in great shape, but again, sometimes when you get cars, you just have to do the best you can with what you have. Such as the windshield on this car. There's some slight cracks in it, but again, finding a replacement is almost impossible unless you get another donor car. Now, there may be somebody out there that makes the windshields for these. I haven't found them yet, but of course I haven't really dug super deep into them either. That's looking pretty good though. Let's go ahead and move on.
I love how the moonlight shines over the mausoleum.
Now it's time to polish up the base. We're going to go ahead and use the Flitz, my favorite product. A little bit on the base there, and we'll share it with the engine. Now there is a link in my comment section to Flitz that says Uncle Paulie. If you go and take that link and copy it and paste it into your web browser and go to the Flitz website, you'll be able to save 20% on any Flitz product on their website. So if you can, go ahead and check it out. They've got more than just this great Flitz polish. They've got all kinds of things. So check out that link and use the code word graveyard and it will save you 20%. Now that's an exclusive deal for folks that follow my channel. Went ahead and sped this up a bit, but man, I'll tell you, that Flitz works fantastic. It really does. And I was listening to a comment that one of my other subscribers made, and she says, I like your videos there, but I don't want to listen to an infomercial. And I completely understand that too. But I just need to let you know what products I use and where I get them from. Don't forget to hit that subscriber button and click on that little bell to be alerted to any future videos that come out. That's looking pretty sweet. All we got to do now is wipe it down and go scrub it down with the Zep degreaser. That looks 100% better than what it did. The engine looks gray too. We need to wipe that down also. Let's clean up the body and get it into the paint booth. Now, like I said here, the body was in pretty rough shape and I didn't want to get into the zinc plating. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit it with a base coat of silver Spectre Flame from the Redline shop. Now, this is a really good base, especially if you have some toning issues on your car and you don't have a zinc setup to go ahead and replate it. So you paint the car with the silver and then you come back in with your color. And I get all these products at the Redline shop. Check out John's website at www.redlineshop.com for Spectre Flame paint, fantastic replacement wheels for your Redlines, decals, etc. Please check out the website. Make sure you get all the hard to reach places, up in the fender wells, up around the openings where the hood, the glass top goes, etc. Because you can see these if you look inside the car. Now it's time to paint it. Here we're going to hit it with a Windex blue. And again, the first thing I do is I get the inside of the car where the hard to reach areas are, such as the fender wells, etc. Light mist coats is the key to painting a car here, folks. I've been painting these cars for years, and it takes time and it takes practice. Now, if you happen to make a mistake and you get some runs in like that, you don't have to wait for this to dry. You can immediately put it in a small container of lacquer thinner and swish it around and clean it off. And that will allow you to clean it up and repaint it almost immediately. So something to think about there. This is looking really nice. I love that color. Blues and teals, that's like my favorite colors. When we used the silver, we filled in a lot of the little imperfections in the car from being so old, and now we're going back over it with the Spectre Flame Windex Blue, and the car is looking absolutely phenomenal. Let's move on.
Meanwhile, back in the graveyard.
Here we've got the base. Now it's time to address these nasty wheels. That center section, like I said, was incredibly brittle. So we're going to have to glue that piece back in as best we can because it's holding on to the axles for the tires. And again, it's all in pieces, and this is something that you're not going to be able to get unless you have a donor car that has a good center section. So I pieced it all together. I figured out exactly where I needed to glue, and then I started putting the pieces back in. Now, if you absolutely had to, you could put in the brass tubing from K&S and make your own axle pole holders, etc., like that. The poles that go on the inside, the tubes, and you could cut the axles in half, but I didn't want to do that. This definitely does take away that suspension that you have, though, when it comes to bouncing the car around, if you know what I mean. So again, we're doing the best we can with what we have. That lays in there pretty good. If I don't mess it up by dropping it. Once you get them where you want them and you've glued them in place, then go ahead and get your super glue accelerator, and this will help harden the super glue and dry it up so you can continue working. Here's the accelerator in the little bottle with the needle on it. First, I'm going to put the center wheels in too. There we go. The axle was a little bit bent and I had to straighten it out. Be careful how much super glue you use. Now, I use the gel kind when it comes to doing anything with wheels, because the liquid kind, if you put it on the axles and then you go to use the accelerator, etc., even if you don't use the accelerator, the super glue, the liquid kind, will travel down the axle through capillary action, and it's liable to get into your hubs and your bearings, etc., and you definitely don't want to do that because it'll freeze up your wheels. Now that this is pretty well hard, we're going to get in and change these wheels. I've already taken off the old ones and we're going to put the new ones on. Now, some of these are a little bit loose. I mean, these are reproduction wheels. The people that make them do the best they can. Sometimes I'll put a little bit of Tester's model cement, just enough to hold the wheel in place, because you can take it off later on if you absolutely want to. So we got 4 large meats for the back and 2 medium meats for the front. That's looking pretty awesome, and with that polished up base, this is going to look really good. Here we have all of our pieces. We've got the body. Now that looks excellent. For the bad shape that it was in, it looks really good. Here's the base, all polished up. We fixed the wheels as best we could with the plastic all broken. Here's the interior. That's looking good. Here's the windshield. We polished it up by hand as best we could. And here's the engine, polished up with that wonderful flitz. Let's put it all together and have our reveal. And here's what we started with. A Hot Wheels 6-shooter. Now again, this car came out in 1971 and it continued on through manufacturing and release till 1972. This one definitely was in bad shape, but we took it apart, we evaluated it, we cleaned it up, and we did the best we could with what we have. I do thoroughly enjoy working on cars like this, and I love working on the red lines. That's my favorite thing to do when it comes to doing customs and restorations and things like that. But these cars are definitely worth saving. I would rather have a restored car in my collection than one they call a filler car. Alright? Now, don't get me wrong, some filler cars are definitely worth some money because they're more rare than others. And here's what we got to. Look at the transformation of this car. This turned out absolutely beautiful. I'm looking so forward to putting this in my collection. And again, it was so much fun to do this, and I love the Spectre Flame paints. They're a fantastic product. Now I use other paints. I use paints from spraygunner.com. I use Createx. I use the Chroma Air, and there's a bunch of other paints that they sell that I use too. Vince from Second Chance Redlines has come out with his own brand of paint, and it's called Retro Flame, and I'm really excited to try that paint also. But I've got some other videos coming out on how to mix these paints, how to use these paints from as soon as you open the bottle to the time you get it on the car. So look forward to that video, folks, and I'm going to do all the paints that I have that I use. This was a lot of fun today. I seriously enjoyed this build. I love restoring old red lines. And if you happen to have some cars you want restored, get a hold of me. Get a hold of me in the comments, and I'll get back to you, and then we can make arrangements from there. My name is Paul with Diecast Graveyard. Thank you for watching so much, and cheers.